Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you and Gloves Off, and today I have a great guest, one that I call my brother, is Grandmaster Richard Hackworth, and we're going to touch base on martial arts, parents looking for martial arts, kids going back to school, and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of patterns that go on, and it's probably been, if you've been in the martial arts for a while, you can actually see it now. If you've had the school at least over 10 years. Brother, how's everything in Florida? Everything okay?
Hey, we're doing well. I'm happy with the weather. You know, had a little rain, so it cooled things down. But we're in full swing. School started last week for us, so things are busy, and we're experiencing and doing now what we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. You know, school started here as well. In both school districts, we have two. One started last week on Thursday, and the other one started this past Tuesday. And I think and we're already getting the calls. So I'm going to put a couple of questions in there. Most parents are afraid of their kids going from middle school to high school. So they want to stick them inside a martial arts school because they're afraid they're going to get hurt in schools or violent in the way. Then you have a lot of parents calling because their child was bullied last year, and they want to get them for them not to be bullied this year. So you get those parents as well. Then you get the parent that is looking for something to do after school. They could care less if it's what sport, but they just want their children to do something. And that's what you get, you know? So those are the three major questions that we get. The person that, the parent that is afraid that their child is going from middle school to high school, from elementary to middle school, the parent that is experiencing bullying last year and wants to stop it this year, and those parents that want their child to do something. So how do we tackle those, and what are the major solutions for that? Because each one of them is different.
All right, well, I know for the parents that are looking to help their kid, whether it's to avoid bullying or to get better grades, to get in better shape, have social interaction. All of those things are possible through our martial arts programs. And I know that another thing that helps is the fact that all of us have experience dealing with this every school year. And many of us for many more decades than the parents themselves, you know, because they've been dealing with one kid for the last 12 or 13 years, and we've been dealing with dozens of kids a week for the last 30 years, you know, so we have a much larger study group to pull our information from. So we have very valid reasons for what we do and why we do it, and the parents can benefit from that. One thing I would suggest for parents that are going to get their children into a martial arts program is, first of all, you want your child to have a longer, stronger, happier, healthier life. And that's a long-term thing. It's not something you accomplish in 3 months. So I would recommend that you look for a good school and then seek out a long-term program, because you want health and fitness and safety to be a part of their life from now on. And that's only going to be possible if it becomes a habit that you encourage. And by encourage, I mean, you encourage them to stick with it. You encourage them by taking them to class, and you encourage them when they want to practice at home. And through the parents' encouragement, they'll find that they're getting a lot more results. Don't leave the encouraging of your children to the public schools and their peers, because those are not healthy resources. You know, you are the one that is ultimately responsible for your child, for your child's health, for your child's safety. And one of the things that I've noticed in recent years when young mothers come in and parents come in with their kids and they specifically mention bullying, they talk about how they were bullied as a kid. And one of the things that I keep hearing is, and my parents never did anything about it. And that's why they're putting their kids in martial arts now, because the parents were giving them worthless advice like, oh, just ignore the bully. Well, how do you ignore the bully when he's enjoying it and nobody's stopping him? The school certainly doesn't make any effort to stop them. And if you stand up for yourself, then you get suspended too. So the only way that you can discourage bullies is by having your child develop the strength, physical strength to stop these things, the mental strength to be assertive and stand up for themselves, and to put them in with a peer group of friends from their martial arts school who look out for each other. Because believe me, the bullies have knuckleheads that are helping them look out for each other. And that's the thing, is that once a child is targeted, they get passed around from bully to bully. The bully's friends join in on the action. Whereas if you have a quiet child, their friends are probably quiet and they're not going to help stand up for them. And if you're not doing anything about it, then you are the one that the child is relying on to keep them safe. And all they know is that every day you force them to go to school where they don't feel safe. And the damage that's done to these children emotionally, not just physically, but emotionally, is irreversible. That's why we have parents now that are putting their kids in the programs, because they don't want their kid to have such a desperate, miserable life like they had, because nobody protected them from bullying.
You know, you are absolutely correct. We get the same thing every year. And every year the child comes inside, they start training. You can see their self-esteem build. They can see this and this. All of a sudden they're here 2 months, and the father goes, okay, he's fine. He's going to go now to basketball. And all of a sudden you see that kid's attitude drop dramatically. His grades and everything drop. Why? Because he did not build. It takes time to build. It doesn't take 2-3 weeks. It's not going to happen in a month, in a 2. You can see a difference, but it's not going to happen in that short period of time. It takes time for these elements of self-esteem, confidence, assertiveness to build. And a lot of parents are not giving time for that. They take them off right away because they saw that the child now is performing something in class, has a lot more self-confidence that he's showing before. And they think, oh, it's fine and dandy. I'm going to remove him and I'm going to take him and I'm going to place him now in basketball, football, whatever, where the bullies are at. The same bullies in school are probably going to be at, and it just comes back down. The other thing that I have, and it's a huge problem, is that we have a lot of school districts that have become what they call school to prison pipeline school districts. And I'll explain what that is. Those are schools.
We have that here.
Yeah. Where it's the first telltale signs of a school to prison pipeline district is they have their own police force, and they have a no tolerance issue. And there's a bunch of other stuff. So when it comes to bullying and the kid's being bullied, they're hitting the kid, it becomes a physical confrontation. The kid defends himself because he has to by right, and he defends himself. That kid is also expelled. So he's thrown into a system of the juvenile justice program. And all of a sudden now you have a kid that was good because nobody stopped the bully, is now part of that system. And that happens periodically. It happens in most school districts throughout the United States. And that's where we have the dangers that we have. That's where we have your mass shooters and stuff like that. And a lot of people can point it in that direction because you're not allowing the kid to stand up to them. And if he does stand up and say something, he is the one that's being punished for standing up. And the bullies are not. And it's unfortunate, but it's a time frame now that parents need to get more involved within their school districts with it, number one matter, and start changing these policies. One, I tell parents this: coming to martial arts is not the reason why you should stop a bully. There's other things that are in there, but martial arts will help that child attain that. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, he's going to go train over there. He's going to go punch somebody. He's going to start getting into fights. No, ain't going to happen. Now, the other question that we have is, we dealt with the bully problem. We get the parents that say, I want my child just to do something. How do we tackle that situation? Because those are kids that probably don't want to come. Those are kids that don't want to get out of the house. Those are kids that for years haven't done anything and now being forced to do something. So how do you deal with that?
Well, one of the things that we're really good about in our program is making sure that the other kids in the class are very welcoming to the new people. And when a parent says they want their kid to do something, they're just looking for an activity. And I tell them, well, you have found the perfect activity, because you don't have to switch sports every season. You don't have to buy a new uniform for everything. You don't need new shoes for, baseball and softball or football and all these different things. You're going to have everything you need. And the thing is that as they become friends with their group member or classmates, they want to come, because now it's where their friends are. And I encourage that. And I know a lot of instructors, it's just like school. The kid goes to school and all day long, they're being told, sit down, be quiet. And if they get to your class and all they hear is sit down, be quiet, or, they never get a chance to interact, they're talking because they're happy, right? So you have to just channel that energy into a different direction. And I've had kids that every now and then you'll get one that we say that they're a talker. They don't get to talk at home because they're the youngest. They don't get to talk at school because the teachers don't let them. And I've noticed that when we give them an opportunity to talk, it really helps them come out of their shell. It builds their self-esteem. And one of the ways that we do that is pad holders. I don't know if you guys hold pads for striking and kicking, but we tell them, look, you got to tell them, was it a good one? Did it need more power? Does it need more speed? And so you encourage them to talk, but with a purpose. And so when they see that their talking encourages their classmates, then they reciprocate that energy. And that's the other thing is I tell the parents that here, your child's going to be around high energy people. So if you want your kid to do more than just play on their cell phone, then you got to put them around people that do more than just play on their cell phone. If you want your kid to spend less time on his device, guess what? You got to spend less time on your device in front of them. So as a parent, you got to lead by example. And as teachers, we lead by example. As leadership team members, higher belts in the class, they lead by example. So it all goes to the same funnel to help the child develop better, to solve these exterior problems like a child being unfit, overweight, getting bullied. And a lot of those go hand in hand. And so when you tackle that problem head on, then you're going to see results.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And how about for the parent that's looking for a school? Because you also get a lot of, I'm going to call for the cheaper price, and that's where it's going to go at. How do you address that for the parents?
Well, I think just like anything else, the price is going to be reflective of the quality. Automatically McDonald's is going to be cheaper than the local steakhouse. But which meal do you want to have for your wedding anniversary? You have to decide, is it quality or is it price? And just like if your child is sick, if they had a heart condition, are you looking for the cheapest cardiologist in your town, or do you want the best? Because that's your child. And that's what we've got here. This is an investment in their health, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so make it a good investment. Understand that your child is worth that, because if you think martial arts classes are expensive, try counseling for the trauma your kid suffered at the hands of bullies. See how cheap that is. So, and I know that sounds a little rough, but I want parents to wake up. I want this to be part of what they're focusing on, their child's health and safety. And it's just that important. And I say that a couple of quick points I'd like to make, that there are things at home that you can do that are going to affect the child, help them with class and help them with school. And one is, like I said, get them off that device and let them go to bed at a decent hour, because an exhausted child is not going to do well academically. An exhausted child is not going to do well in our class or in any sports, so let them get a proper amount of sleep, and try to restrict, especially anything with caffeine and sugar for kids, because their little systems get wore out from that stuff. And so, you got to stay on top of their nutrition, make sure they're eating a good balanced meal, because if you just sugar them up with some fruit punch and donuts for breakfast, that's going to burn out of their system by 10:30 in the morning. And guess what? Now you've got a kid that's exhausted and burnt out for the next 5 hours trying to stay awake in class and learn something. So you got to focus on that as the parent. And the best way to do that is lead by example. Eat a healthy breakfast with them, because I know I've learned more from teachers who led by example. That's what they say, kids are terrible listeners, but they're great followers. So if you're doing what you want them to do, they're going to follow you. They're going to do that too. And the other great thing about martial arts class is that our teachers are not just teaching them kicking and punching. There's so much more to that. We're mentoring them, and behind the kicking and punching is the encouragement of harder, faster, and building their self-esteem, because
Sure.
we know that they have more inside them, that they're not doing their best. So we encourage them to go faster, go harder. And as they do that, not only do they build themselves up physically, but they build themselves up mentally and emotionally to know, hey, I'm tougher than I thought. And it helps them in so many other situations. And I know that you have a lot of experience with that as well, not only your own competition days, but having coached champions and trained people that's way. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And it's what I see is those patterns, and it's more for parents, that are out there that are listening to this. There's plenty of martial arts schools out there, and there's plenty of different price ranges out there. So for the parent that says, you know what, I cannot get any help because most price ranges in martial arts in Texas, I'm talking about Texas, is anywhere from $160 to $300 a month. I know it's a lot higher in the East Coast, and in New York's a lot higher, and in California it's higher. So those are the norms. So so there are courses that are given by the PAL, the Sheriff's Police Athletic League, police athletic leagues, and the rec centers that are cheaper in price value. So there's a lot of courses everywhere that can offset the different financial groups that are out there. Okay. We give a lot of scholarships away per year. Okay. And we do it to the people that are really that need it and benefit from it. So for parents who say that nobody wants to go out there and help, all the martial artists are out there and helping. So when you start getting into things that, well, the city has a boxing program, probably because it's free, but they're still paying the coach. They're not doing it for free. They're being paid by the city of whatever for the municipality. So when you go into a martial arts school, not only are you going to a location that's secure, but there's a lot of overhead that's involved to run an institution like that, and parents don't understand that. And the prices are going up because the rents are going up. Nothing changed. COVID, everybody right after it kind of stopped and everything went up in price. Nothing has changed. The rent values have gone up. Equipment values have gone up, but people say, oh, but you have the same equipment. Yeah, but you know what? 10 years ago, I paid $2,000 for that machine over there. Now, if I want to reinvest and buy another one like that, now it's $3,000. So people need to understand where the cost was. I remember when we first started Savad back here, you couldn't find boxing gloves. Boxing gloves, you only had those red ones from Everlast that never lasted. And if you wanted a quality boxing glove, you had to get somebody that was going to Mexico to bring in some Prieto Reyes or some Lopez or something like that. Those were quality gloves, or Palmares. to come over here to use. Probably around the mid 90s, you had Ringside come out and start producing boxing gloves at a cheaper rate, you know, which was 2 pairs at $150. Now you can get boxing gloves at the Academy for $30, you know, so things change over time, but it's still, the price is different in other things. Most martial art equipment, depending on the martial art equipment that you're going to get for your child, is probably going to be about $200. That's going to be an investment that you're going to pay, more or less, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And, that safety equipment is, the better the equipment, the more expensive it is, obviously. And just like, as an individual for different things, if you go out and get a motorcycle helmet, you want a $60 helmet that's going to slap and fall apart if you come off the bike, or do you want one that's going to save your life? And that's the idea, is that you want the best possible safety equipment for your child or for you if you're the one doing it. But the other thing that adds to the expense is the quality of the instruction, because if you have a seasoned professional instructor with proper licenses and certifications, all those things cost money, and it's built into the price. And I know, like, for a lot of school owners that I work with, I know that a lot of people in the United States, because it's unregulated, haven't attended an instructor's course. But once they do, they realize, wow, there's a lot of stuff being taught here that I didn't really pick up from just becoming a black belt, And so all of those things factor into the price. And I know for me, if I needed heart surgery, I want a surgeon who interned at a cardiovascular clinic and did heart surgeries before. I don't want to be the first one. And so you got to look for that in anything that you're learning or buying. You want the best professional available, because it's you that's going to suffer if you take the cheaper option. If you buy a car, do you ask, well, do you have a cheaper seatbelt you can use? Can we bring the price of this car down? You know, saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what people don't understand, that's what raises the price up there. And we live in a world that people think, cheaper is it's same quality. No, it's not. And unfortunately, people out there can price gouge and others cannot. And that's what you need to understand where you're at. So parents, I'm going to leave this with you. Listen to the words that Grandmaster Richard says. And if you're going to study the school, study the instructors, watch a class, sit down, there's a lot of red flags that come of age that you have to see. One, if, make sure the instructor that you're going to go to the class allows you to see the class, allows your child to participate in class. All those things you have to look at, and go out there, watch, because number one, it's an investment for your child, and also take it as an investment, because it can become another source of income in the future if your child sticks with it as a vocation. So pick schools that are certified, and not just some guy that's out there teaching that is not affiliated with anything, because those associations will back you up later on in the future.
Well, the other thing I want to point out too is that you mentioned some of these other programs out there, like at community centers or the Police Athletic League and things like that. And this is my thought on that. Now, I won't say it in every case, but the majority of the time, those are not qualified professional instructors. They're just some guy who got a black belt that's slinging karate on the side for some extra cash. And so their program isn't well structured. They don't have a curriculum. And you're going to find that the quality of the students is going to fluctuate greatly, because those kind of teachers, because they don't have balanced teaching, they get unbalanced results. And they tend to favor the natural athletes who are doing better because they think that kid makes them look good. But the truth is, the ones that aren't doing as well are the ones that need more attention, because they're also the ones that need to make you look good. So it's not just ego, it's the fact that what you're teaching them has potentially life-saving skills and benefits. And we don't want to let somebody fall through the cracks just because they weren't the favorite kid or they weren't the best athlete.
Absolutely. The problem that you're absolutely right with what you said. Remember, folks, it's an investment on your child. It's an investment in your child, not only in the future. Hopefully nothing ever happens, but if it does, they're able to defend themselves. And the last is if they continue with the program and they achieve that and they become 18, 19 years old, maybe they can use it as a vocation in the future. Remember that everything at this time is educational purposes. So you want to affiliate yourself with people that have that and understand that. And that's that's essential. There's a lot of martial arts out there. There's martial arts that are developed every day by somebody that just went on YouTube. So understand the difference, what is quality, what is work, what is structured, what is a pedagogy, are they capable or not capable? And what I mean by capable, the product's a student. I'm not the product. The product is the student. Are they capable of defending themselves, need be, if it has to? And that's what you have to look at. Go, like I say, go take a look at the school, partake in the school. Go a couple of times. I tell parents, you want to come in here, try it the whole week, try it. See if you can get the routine going, because you sign up and on a contractual basis, and all of a sudden you find out that you can't make it at that time. Then you're stuck with something that you hate. And I'd rather have somebody that comes inside that's liking it, that's progressing with it, to go forward.
Yeah. And another thing I want to say about instructors is that you want an instructor who's passionate and energetic about what they do, because if they don't enjoy teaching it, nobody's going to enjoy taking it. And the thing is that I know from dealing with parents that when moms come in, they want to see the child have fun. When dads come in, they want to see that kid's becoming a tough guy. They want to know their kid can handle himself, And that's the thing about our program. Both of those parents are going to be happy because we have a very fun and uplifting environment, but we do have high standards and we do push the kids, to try to reach new limits. And so sometimes you're going to get a kid that's going to, get all these feelings that they've never had before. They get a little overwhelmed. They might tear up or cry some, but it's not unhealthy. It's not because they felt like they were in danger, because kids, especially when the parents are watching, want to perform at their best because they want the parents to be proud. So just realize that sometimes if your kid does start crying, it's not a sign that you need to take him out. It's just the opposite. It's that he's struggling to deal with this, but if you give him time, he'll learn to overcome it. And just like his schoolwork, if he's struggling with spelling, you're not going to tell him, well, that's okay, don't worry about that. No, of course you got to make them do their sight words and learn their spelling, and because it's an important factor in their life, just like the ability to protect yourself. And I know that a lot of parents are surprised at the increased improved behavior at home and in school, because now they're in an atmosphere that's highly disciplined. They're learning, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, please, thank you, no, thank you. And as that comes out, the parents are like, wow, that's my kid. That's my good kid over there. And they're proud of that. But it makes you wonder, like, well, then why weren't you doing it at home? And so that's one of the other benefits that parents get that they weren't maybe expecting in the beginning.
Yep, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And those are some good words. So parents, pay attention to this. If you're looking for that. And the reason we had that is because school's starting right now, and we're going to see the same pattern develop. By October, we're going to get a bunch of calls because their kids are being bullied in school. I even have classes on that, and we're going to be having a class in September here. It's open to the community, where folks can come in here and actually find out what they need to do and how they need to do and what to do if your child is being bullied. Parents also have to stand up for themselves too. The martial art instructor is not going to go fight for them. Understand that, but we can teach you all what you all can do because of the experiences that we have, and how you all approach the principles, how you all approach the teachers and the school board and so on and so forth, because it is a problem. And believe me when I say this, most school districts do not care one iota for your child. And they might say they do, but they care more about what it's called the dollar and the funding than what they do about the kids being in there. Or else we would have a lot more stuff inside. Remember what I said about capable? Look at, see how many have been capable, that have been graduated, capable of sustaining themselves civically and in civilly. So understand where that's going. So parents, this school year, pay attention, get involved, and get involved in your child's life. Brother, I'll leave you with this. Thank you for the good words, because those are some words that leave us to ponder. And everybody out there, you guys stay safe, be safe, and stay at peace. Till next time.
Thank you.